Inside the last 25 minutes of the SportsMax Zone on this Thursday, we have more cricket for you on this show as we head around the Caribbean to bring you the latest from the Cricket West Indies Regional 4-Day Championship, where stumps were drawn on day 2 action of round 6. This, of course, the penultimate round of the tournament. Let's head first to St. Kitts and Nevis, where Matthew Nandu with 53 not out led the Guyana Harpy Eagles to 137 for 1 at the close of play in their second time at bat, still 5 runs behind the Leeward Islands Hurricanes. Windies batsman Casey Carty, with a top score of 92, had earlier led the Leeward Islands Hurricanes' effort with the bat before they were dismissed for 335 in 79.3 overs, a first innings lead of 142 runs. Ronaldo Ali Mohammed, the leading fast bowler in the tournament at the moment, 5 for 91, the pick of the bowlers for the Harpy Eagles. Over at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground in St. Lucia, half-centuries from Windies batsmen Alec Athenae's 78 and Kevin Hodd's 77 not out helped the Windward's Volcanoes build a 191-run lead over the Barbados Pride, having ended day 2 on 304 in their second innings. The Pride had earlier taken a 12-run first innings lead before they being dismissed for 198 in 54.5 overs. Keon Gaston was chief wicket taker for the Volcanoes, with the ball finishing with 6 for 52. Johan Jeremiah, 22, and Daniel Evelyn, 11, will resume batting on day 3 for the combined campuses and colleges over at the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Ground against the West Indies Academy. CCC negotiated their way to 35 without loss at stumps, still 43 runs behind the Academy boys. Teddy Bishop, who was one of the most successful batsmen for the West Indies at the 2022 Under-19 World Cup in the Caribbean, had earlier fallen just one shy of a century in the Academy's first innings score of 316, responding to the combined campuses and colleges total of 238. Let's find out now what has happened at the Trinidad and Tobago Jamaica Scorpions game. This match being played in Tarouba, the Brian Lara Cricket Academy. The Jamaica Scorpions 372. The Trinidad and Tobago Red Force chasing the title, but not doing a good job of chasing the Jamaica first inning score at the moment. 110 for 6. This is a day-night fixture. In the Jamaica score of 372, there was 100 for Javel Glenn. He scored 140 not out. Glenn having his first season of first-class cricket, again getting his first first-class 140 not out. And Abhijay Mansingh, 67. They were the top batters for the Jamaica team. Jermaine Blackwood, of course, had scored 61 yesterday. Bowling for the TNT Red Force team, Joshua James, 3 for 40. And Cara Pierre, who is the tournament leader in wickets at the moment, 3 for 87. Now, in the TNT reply, as I said, 110 for 6 at the moment. Joshua De Silva has top scored so far with 32 not out, and Terence Hines made 29. But outside of that, pretty much single digits for the TNT Red Force batters against Marquino Minley with 3 for 21 of 8 overs, and OJ Shields 2 for 32 of 10 overs. The chief wicket takers, fast bowlers, they're doing well for the Jamaica team. Odin Smith 1 for 24 at the moment. So that's the update on the day-night fixture in this round 6 fixture between TNT Red Force and the Jamaica Scorpions at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Tarouba. TNT Red Force 110 for 6, replying to the Jamaica Scorpions 372. So tight going here, and Ramarak, let me ask you to respond to this quickly, because the Red Force haven't won a 4-day title in decades, and they are on the heels of the Harpy Eagles chasing the title. So this batting performance at the moment, 110 for 6, replying to 372, doesn't look good for the Red Force.
I think my response would be better if I had a bat and I could go out there and get the runs for the Red Force, as opposed to responding via words, because right now the Red Force 110 for 6, Lance, is very, very disappointing. And you know, I'm sitting here while you're of course updating us on the scores, and I'm thinking, you know, So what happened to Jason Mohammed, who was giving us the centuries before, and the other players? Because one of the things that I had really felt proud about is the fact that our batters had come to the party in the previous round. So I can't really understand why there has been such a batting collapse, and I have to call it that. And of course, well, on the other side, Jamaica putting up a total that it appears as if Trinidad and Tobago cannot match at this point in time. So right now, I'm a bit, I'm fumbling because I don't know what happened.
Well, let's see how it turns out, because at the moment, TNT are struggling, but a lot of these teams are very inconsistent, and I wouldn't want to write TNT off at the moment in this game, but they are in a spot of bother. Having said that, the Harpy Eagles, Ricardo, they haven't started well either against the Hurricanes. 193 all out.
And they're
the Hurricanes,
also strong.
335 in response to Guyana Harpy Eagles. Credit their second innings performance at 137 for 1 is a lot better.
Yeah, oh, by the way, I would like to lend Mariah a bat.
I have, don't worry. My sister plays for West Indies. I have lots of bats.
So you can go out there and make the runs then. I
Yeah,
thought you
but-
didn't have a bat.
No, I'm not there, Ricardo. Are you giving me the time off to go to
Yes,
bat?
and make runs?
I would,
Yes.
I would suggest that if Coach Riyad Emirates is depending on Mariah Ramharak to score runs for the Red Force team, they are in dire straits.
You never know, you never saw me bat before.
Of course I have.
Well, you did see me when
with
I hit
with
the
a
6.
tennis ball.
No, you saw me hit a 6 for the promo. Remember that?
A 6?
Yeah.
A 6?
Yeah, the boundary was like...
Oh, 10 meters away.
Y'all are so mean to me. Do you know that? Y'all never give me the opportunity. Even when I did the La Liga promo, like my football skills were so good, and not once would they credit me about it. But Ricardo, you know what? Since I'm not good enough, I'm giving you the opportunity to go bat for the Red Force.
Well,
You mean
I'm
the Scorpions?
Jamaican.
No, but the way how this thing goes, you can play...
And the Scorpions clearly didn't need it. They had Javel Glenn. No, but by the way, I thought Marquina Minde bowled really well at the top of the innings for the Jamaica Scorpions against the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. He got the ball in the right areas. He asked a lot of questions, and he had success, and the catching was good in the slips as well, including from Jermaine Blackwood, the former captain. So I think you have to give the Scorpions a lot of credit. You have to give Javel Glenn a lot of credit as well, because remember the Scorpions were 140 odd for 6 at one stage.
Which is why I was suggesting that 110 for 6, the TNT Red Force reply at the moment, even though it looks troubling for them, it isn't, the innings hasn't folded.
No,
just
and they
yet.
have batting right throughout the
Yeah.
team. So that's another thing that we need to take into consideration. But back to Ricardo.
Yeah, I think, and the Scorpions have struggled this campaign to get out of a lot of these positions. And I think it was in the Super 50 last year where Glenn scored a magnificent century to lift Jamaica from a similar position.
Yes.
And here he is again in the 4-day format doing the same. He's been in very good form. And once again, as you saw from that clip, extremely emotional.
Yes.
After getting that century. And again, we spoke somewhat about his story last year when he got the List A century. And it's been a long road. It's been a difficult road for him. Mm-hmm. There have been times when he has been counted out. I think in the past he's also felt that he hasn't been given the support or he hasn't had the confidence of previous coaching and management staff. And I think when you come through periods like that and have the type of success that he's been able to have this season and from the 50-over competition as well, then it usually means a lot more. But I think credit to the way the Jamaicans have played, which is, I think, in some key areas, a lot better than they have gone this campaign. But when you're Trinidad and Tobago Red Force and when you're chasing a title, you have to find ways to get out of these periods, and hopefully for them, they'll be able to get out of this pretty sticky position.
Yeah, just a quick word there on Javel Glenn, because you mentioned, the struggles he has had. And I think there are signs that this is a mentally tough young man. I think he first came to a recognition back in a T20 game, a CPL game for the Jamaica Talawas, many, many years ago. Hit the ball really, really hard. And at that time, I didn't know about his red ball, acumen. But to score 140 not out of, I think, 260-odd balls shows that he was applying himself to the job. And He's not the type of player who will just, go in a white ball situation, just knock the ball around, even though it may be his strength to be a good ball hitter. So credit to him. And you could see the emotion, as we said there, with his response to his 100 against the TNT Red Force, which has a pretty solid bowling attack.
Right.
The TNT Red Force bowling is strong. So if you get 100 against them, it tells you that, well, certainly on the surface, it does suggest that you played a good innings.
Yeah, and I just want to say he adds stability to this Jamaica Scorpion setup, because I don't want you all to forget, but earlier when we were discussing the Windies Championship, just as Trinidad and Tobago scores look right now, Jamaica Scorpions were struggling at a point with the bat. And I think if Javel, remember, 44 all out. I remember seeing Odin at Fontana and asking him what happened, what happened to the batting lineup today. And he just smiled, of course, and said that they would come back and do better the next day. But I just wanted to point that out. So Javel Glenn gets the opportunity to come into the setup. I think this 140 will cement his place, but he's going to have to prove himself again, Lance and Ricardo. He's going to have to continuously put up these scores, because, as we know, they can be flying high today with 372, but based on what we would have seen from the Jamaica Scorpions, it could also be 40 all out.
Yeah, and talking about the championship battle, Lance and Laura, and you mentioned the Harpy Eagles, Lance. This is what I'm talking about when you're chasing championship. A pretty poor start to the contest for them. Bowled out for 193. The Hurricanes get 335, a first innings lead of 142, and second time at bat you're seeing a different Guyana Harpy Eagles. They're 137 for 1. They are still 5 runs behind, but they are giving themselves a chance, and we've seen them already this season pull themselves out of sticky first inning situations, and I wouldn't put it beyond them to do the same and actually go on and win this match, as tough as that is going to be, because the Hurricanes have proven to be a pretty solid unit this campaign. But I would not put it beyond the Guyana Harpy Eagles to find a way to win this match. And so it's important that if Trinidad and Tobago really want to go on and win this title, that they manage to not lose this game, or even figure out a way how they're going to win this game. Now, mind you, the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force side, they've had to utilize Shannon Gabriel. He's back in the unit, none for 51 from his 15 overs. Before this, I actually thought that Gabriel was retired.
Yes.
But yes, he didn't bowl badly, didn't have success, but wasn't overly expensive. And was interesting to see him back.
Yeah, and you mentioned something. Yeah?
No, just because you watched that part when he bowled, did he look fit? Sorry, Lance.
It's okay.
I
Gabriel
don't know
hardly
how
ever
to,
looks fit,
I
though.
don't know how to answer that.
You know what I don't like about you?
What is that?
You see, when Lance and I ask you questions, we expect direct answers. And you're like smiling and not telling us true or false. You're telling us tomorrow.
Lance, you were saying?
I want to expand on the point that Ricardo was making just now about Guyana's acumen as a championship team.
Yes.
Because having been so badly outplayed in the first innings, a champion is now required to lift themselves up and get themselves back into the game, which is exactly what Guyana Harpy Eagles have done at 137 for 1. They have been back-to-back champions the last 2 years. They have won 7 out of the last 9 titles. Many of the players on this current setup were part of those teams that won all these titles. So it is very clear that there is something about the Harpy Eagles team that has to be commended. Conversely, TNT, in spite of the fact that they have produced so many good cricketers for decades, they have not won a red ball title since 05-06. That's going 20 years now.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if Riyad Emirates, as a new coach, can get them over the line, but there is a vast difference based on what we have seen between Trinidad and Tobago's appetite for a red ball cricket title compared to the Harpy Eagles' appetite for red ball titles.
Well,
you know what I have appetite for?
No, just not answering all questions. But what else?
A break.
Oh, we're up on a break, though?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're up on a break. All right. We'll be back with our interactive segment.